Welcome to Math Time, boys and girls. Come in and check out what Mrs. Brown has been doing. Here, I'll adjust this camera for you to see because she is about to tell you a story. So, Mrs. Brown has been cutting some sharp cheddar cheese, some American cheese, and some mozzarella cheese into cubes to take to the church picnic. She put 30 cubes of sharp cheddar cheese on a plate and 20 cubes of mozzarella cheese on a plate, and she put 10 cubes of American cheese on a plate. So help me to count out how she did each kind of cheese. All right, so we had 30 cubes of sharp cheddar cheese. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So the last number that I counted is how many there were on her plate, and that is, you're right, 30 cubes of sharp cheddar cheese. And then remember, she had 20 cubes of mozzarella cheese. So count with me and find out how many altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And this one she had to eat because it was extra. Now, the last kind of cheese that she put out for the church picnic was American cheese. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there we have her 3 plates of cheese. My question is, you know what? Let me just write that down first. So she had 30 cubes of cheese and 20 more cubes of cheese and 10 more cubes of cheese. There's the list, okay, for each plate. So, how can we find out how many cubes of cheese Mrs. Brown had to prepare for the church picnic? How would we find out? I agree. Let's count them all together. Okay, so how many cubes of sharp cheddar were there? 30. Good. So we did that. We already counted. Well, let's try one more time. Okay, to be sure I counted correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yes, all 30 are there. Nobody ate them up. And then how many of mozzarella? I believe there were 20. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yes. And then how many of American cheese? Not sure. Let's count it to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we have 30, then we have 20, and then we have 10. All right, so let's count all together. That's 30. Start with the biggest number always, right? 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. And then don't forget the last one. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. So all together, how many were there? 60. 60. Okay, good. So you could actually make this as a number sentence, and you could say 30 plus 20 plus 10 equals 60. Isn't that what we just did? We added all the cheeses together. All together we had 60. Okay, great. So that is what happens on Mrs. Brown's church picnic. Let's move on to another activity. All right, so now here's another story with Mrs. Brown. Mrs. Brown baked 3 loaves of bread on Monday morning and 2 loaves of bread on Monday afternoon. What is the total number of loaves of bread that Mrs. Brown baked on Monday? Well, let's find out right here. So we're going to draw pictures of her loaves of bread. On Monday, she baked 3 in the morning. And then that's represented with the number 3. And then later in the afternoon, she baked 2 more. And then the question was, how many altogether? Altogether tells me I have to add. So I need the plus sign for adding. So then altogether, I could even make a picture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Altogether, there were 5 loaves of bread that Mrs. Brown baked that day. Okay, good. So that would be 3. Okay, let me just turn it so you can see it easily. 3 plus 2 equals 5. And there's your picture. Now the story continues. Mrs. Brown baked 5 loaves of bread on Monday. She took 2 loaves of bread to a sick neighbor. How many loaves of bread does she have now? So let's start by drawing the picture. We'll divide this. New story. Draw a picture of how many loaves Mrs. Brown baked on Monday. How many were there? 6. I like to line them up so they're easy to count. And there I have my 6 loaves of bread that she baked. And then, oh, I'm sorry, there were 5. She didn't bake 6, she baked 5. Because next, she took 2 loaves to a sick neighbor. So what can we do to show that? Well, let's just cross off 2 loaves. There's 1, there's 2. So what we have left that she didn't give away is 3. We can represent that with the following sentence. 5 minus 2 equals 3. 5 minus 2 equals 3. And there's our picture to help us to read the story and to represent it. Okay, good. You can do similar stories and you can just change the numbers of loaves of bread. It could be 4 and 2 more, or 6 and she gave away 3. You can take a pencil and a paper and do all kinds of stories with Mrs. Brown and her bread. For now though, I'd like to move on to a new activity for today's math lesson. And what we're going to do is take a look at a ruler. We've been looking at rulers, and today we're going to review a little bit about it. So I have here a ribbon and I have a ruler. Okay, and the ruler, well actually, a ribbon and a box. So I have a ruler, a ribbon, and a box. So what would I use to measure the length of the ribbon? The ruler, right? Okay, good. And what would I use to measure the height of the box? That would be also the ruler, correct? Okay, so you've used several different kinds of rulers to measure. We've used paper rulers, and this one is a wooden one, and we've used plastic ones. There are all different kinds of rulers. Okay, remember, you could even use paper clips. We did that before. We used a paper clip ruler. Well, today we have a ruler with inches. There they are, and it says inch right there. And the same ruler has centimeters, and there it says cm for centimeters right there. So this ruler could be used to measure in either centimeters or inches, whichever we chose. Usually in the United States, in this country, we use inches, although you may find some places now are beginning to use centimeters. And as you go through school, you'll see in science class especially, there's more and more centimeters, even in math class, not so much inches, but you do need to know how to do both. Okay, so let's take a look at how long our ribbon is. We'll start with that one. So let's try inches. I'm going to start here where the ribbon begins and stop here. Let me turn it around actually, so we're starting at 1 and bring you a little closer. You can see. That's a better view, right? So starting at the 1, stopping at the 12, and then I have to hold my place and count a few more. So that's where I began. So it's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and not quite to the next one. So this ribbon measures 17 and a little bit extra inches. Well, let's see how high is the box. We're going to start measuring at the bottom, at the base, and we mark the place where we meet the top of the box, and that's just after the 9, just after the 9. So this is 9 and a little bit extra centimeters, maybe 9.5, okay? There's another way to measure. We have other measuring tools. This was for height and length, but sometimes we want to measure something else. So let me get another tool going over here, and that would be thermometer. Remember, thermometer measures temperature, right? You remember that, right? It measures temperature, and it's how hot or how cold the food is for this thermometer. Another one would measure maybe the air or your body temperature. Then we have something that made that loud noise before, but it's okay. This is a scale. It's called a bathroom scale. And this could be used to measure how heavy something is. For example, this container of sauce, salsa, I see here, it measures 1 pound. 1 pound. I could try something a little bigger and heavier. See how much that measures. That one measures 5 pounds. Let's see if we can get a little closer to this. This one measures 5 pounds. Sorry about that.